Welcome back to the channel Valuable Coins HD, fellow coin collectors, curious minds, and treasure hunters from every corner of the world. Today's story isn't about a rare gold doubloon lost to the sea, nor is it about some ancient Roman artifact dug up from the dirt. No, today, the spotlight shines on something far more common. Or so it seems. A tiny silver-colored coin that we've all handled hundreds, maybe thousands, of times in our lives. But this one carries a secret. We're talking about the Roosevelt dime, minted in the year 1979. Don't be fooled by its modest size or everyday appearance, because this coin, under the right conditions, could be worth a life-changing amount of money. So sit back, pay close attention, and let's uncover the remarkable story behind the 1979 Roosevelt dime with a mint mark. Now, the Roosevelt dime isn't new to American pockets. It first entered circulation in 1946, just a year after President Franklin D. Roosevelt's death. This wasn't just a commemorative decision, it was deeply symbolic. Roosevelt had been a key figure in supporting the March of Dimes campaign against polio, and so, placing his portrait on the 10-cent coin was both a tribute and a national reminder of his legacy. But fast forward to 1979, and we find ourselves at a unique point in U.S. coinage history. The economy was shifting, inflation was rising, and the nation was preparing for dramatic changes in its monetary system. Amid this backdrop, millions of Roosevelt dimes were being struck, but not all of them were created equal. As you pick up a 1979 dime and peer closer, the first thing to look for is the tiny mint mark just next to the date. This small letter holds the key to the coin's origin. It may show a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or no letter at all, indicating it was minted in Philadelphia. While these letters may seem like minor details, they can dramatically affect the coin's value, especially when it comes to rare strikes, production errors, or coins that were preserved in unusually high condition. Now here's where the story gets more intriguing. Most Roosevelt dimes from 1979 were quickly tossed into circulation, used for gum, vending machines, bus fare, or lost in couch cushions. They were never meant to be saved, admired, or cherished. But a small number of them escaped that fate. A few were carefully stored, untouched by human hands, free from the scrapes and dings of everyday use. These are what collectors call uncirculated, or mint state, coins, and their value starts to rise sharply depending on how flawless they are. A 1979 Roosevelt dime in perfect condition, with no scratches, no toning, no wear, it's like finding a time capsule, frozen from a world over 4 decades ago. But condition isn't the only thing that gets collectors excited. The real thrill comes from something much rarer, minting anomalies. You see, every year, millions of coins are produced in giant facilities where metal blanks are stamped at lightning speed. And in that whirlwind of production, sometimes things go wrong. A die might crack. A planchet might misalign. An imprint might double. These errors, while rare, are incredibly valuable because they are never repeated. Imagine having a 1979 Roosevelt dime with a dramatic off-center strike, or a misprinted mint mark, or a die clash that left behind ghostly patterns on the surface. These one-of-a-kind mistakes transform ordinary coins into collector's gold. Let's also not forget the proof versions struck in San Francisco. These coins were made with extra care, featuring mirror-like surfaces and frosted details, meant for collectors rather than general circulation. But even among these high-quality coins, surprises can occur: double dies, missing elements, or strange finishes, all of which can skyrocket a dime's value far beyond its humble face value. So how does someone know if they're holding on to a valuable version of the 1979 Roosevelt dime? It starts with a close inspection, ideally with a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Look at the mint mark. Examine the edges. Is the rim full and strong? Are the details of Roosevelt's profile crisp and unbroken? What about the torch on the reverse side? Can you see each line clearly, or does it blur together? Even a tiny imperfection, or an unexpected variation, can turn a 10-cent coin into a 4- or 5-figure treasure. And here's something truly amazing. You don't need to be a professional collector or dealer to find one of these rare gems. They're out there, resting in old jars, hidden in childhood collections, or forgotten in boxes passed down from parents or grandparents. One person's spare change might be another person's jackpot. The world of coin collecting is full of stories where people stumbled upon unbelievable finds without ever realizing their value at first. A little coin picked up at a garage sale or tucked away in a coin album for decades suddenly goes under the microscope, and boom! It turns out to be worth a fortune. That's what makes this hobby so thrilling. It's not just about the money, it's about discovery, history, and the excitement of the unknown. So what if you happen to have a 1979 Roosevelt dime that's been sitting quietly in your possession all these years? Well, if it's in uncirculated condition, or if it bears a rare mint mark variation or error that slipped through the mint's quality control, you could be in for a very pleasant surprise. There are dedicated communities, auction houses, and online platforms where such coins are evaluated, graded, and sold to eager collectors willing to pay handsomely for them. And now, it's finally time to talk numbers. If you've patiently followed along, you deserve to know what kind of value we're talking about. Are you ready? A pristine, rare, and error-marked Roosevelt dime from 1979, especially one with a unique mint mark or a proof strike anomaly, can fetch as much as $25,000 in the collector's market today. Yes, you heard it right. $25,000 for a single 10-cent coin. That's a staggering 250,000% increase in value from its original worth. Imagine finding one of these coins and suddenly realizing that what once seemed like spare change is actually a key to unlocking real wealth. So, what are you waiting for? Go check your coin jars, your drawers, those old piggy banks from childhood. Pull out that forgotten folder of coins and look closely. Because one small dime could change everything. Today, we're diving deep into the story of the 1980 Roosevelt dime, a coin that, while it may seem common at first glance, could actually be worth far more than its face value. In fact, if you're lucky enough to have the right one, you might be holding a tiny treasure that could change your life. This isn't just a coin, it's a potential goldmine hidden in your pocket. So, how does a coin from 1980, a year not that far back in history, become so special? Why are collectors today scanning their collections and digging through drawers in hopes of finding one? What sets this particular Roosevelt dime apart from the millions of others that passed through the hands of everyday Americans for decades? The answers lie in a unique combination of history, design, minting details, and of course, rarity. Let's rewind for a moment to the year 1980. The United States was stepping into a new decade, carrying the weight of economic turbulence, global tension, and political shifts. Ronald Reagan was preparing to take the political stage, inflation was climbing, and the cost of living was changing fast. While the world focused on oil prices, interest rates, and international diplomacy, the U.S. Mint was quietly producing coins, millions of them, every single day to meet the demands of a nation on the move. Among those coins was the Roosevelt dime. A staple of American coinage since 1946, it bears the face of Franklin D. Roosevelt, a president remembered not only for leading the country through the Great Depression and World War II but also for his passionate efforts to fight polio. The dime was chosen to honor his legacy because of his involvement in founding the March of Dimes, a campaign that changed the course of medical history. Now, by 1980, the design of the dime hadn't changed much. It still featured Roosevelt's profile on the obverse, with the words "Liberty and in God We Trust" surrounding him, and the date below. The reverse still showcased a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. But if you look closely, just next to the date, you'll see something small yet significant: the mint mark. This tiny letter, often a P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco, tells us where the coin was made. And while most people barely notice it, collectors know that the mint mark can make all the difference. Some 1980 Roosevelt dimes carry unusual mint marks, some were struck off-center, some show doubling, and others are missing mint marks entirely due to striking errors. These small mistakes, often undetected at the time of production, now drive massive interest in the numismatic world. But mint marks aren't the only secret these dimes hold. Some 1980 dimes display dramatic die errors, like doubling of letters, numbers, or even Roosevelt's features. Others may have what's called a broad strike, where the coin is stretched due to a missing collar during the minting process, giving it a wider, flat appearance. And then there are the off-center strikes, where the coin design appears shifted, creating a partially blank area. These kinds of errors are rare, and the more dramatic or unique the mistake, the more valuable the coin becomes. Let's not forget condition. The majority of Roosevelt dimes minted in 1980 were circulated heavily. They clinked through pockets, vending machines, cash registers, and piggy banks. After decades of use, most are scratched, worn, and faded. But a few, just a few, escaped that fate. They were set aside, never used, and preserved in mint state condition. These coins still shine with that original luster, their designs crisp and untouched by time. When these well-preserved examples combine with rare errors or unusual minting quirks, they become incredibly desirable, and incredibly valuable. Imagine opening a small coin folder from your childhood collection. As you flip through the plastic sleeves, there it is, a 1980 Roosevelt dime. You take a closer look. The mint mark looks strange. The design seems slightly off. It's clean, untouched, like it's been frozen in time. You rush to do some research and discover that your little 10-cent coin could be worth thousands. It sounds like a dream, but it's very real, and it has happened to more than a few lucky collectors over the years. The U.S. coin market has seen a significant rise in interest for coins from the late 20th century. Why? Because most people never considered them collectible. These were the coins everyone used and then forgot. But as time passes, these coins become historical artifacts. And the ones with imperfections, the rare mistakes that survived the minting process, are now seen as treasures. They're one-of-a-kind time capsules that slip through the cracks and into history, and that's what makes the hunt so exciting. You don't need to be a millionaire or a professional coin dealer to find one. All you need is a good eye, some curiosity, and maybe a little bit of luck. Your old change jar, your grandparents' coin collection, or a dusty envelope tucked away in a drawer might be hiding one of these valuable 1980 Roosevelt dimes. It's stories like these that keep collectors passionate and new hunters joining the adventure every day. So now we come to the moment you've been waiting for. The big reveal. Just how much could one of these little 1980 Roosevelt dimes be worth today? We're not talking about the ordinary, worn-out dimes you've seen 1,000 times. We're talking about the rare ones, the coins with striking errors, unique mint mark issues, and perfect preservation. When those qualities come together in a single dime, it's not just a coin anymore. It's a collector's prize. A historical artifact. A silent survivor of a forgotten moment, and in today's market, a 1980 Roosevelt dime with the right mint error, in top-grade uncirculated condition, has been valued by collectors and experts at an astonishing $30,000. Yes, you heard that right. $30,000, for one single dime. 10 cents transformed into tens of thousands, simply because of the way it was struck and preserved. So, what are you waiting for? It's time to dig through your old coins. Check your change. Revisit your childhood collection. Because the next valuable coin could be right under your nose, and it just might be a 1980 Roosevelt dime worth $30,000. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of modern American coinage, because sometimes, the most valuable treasures are hiding in plain sight. You might think all modern coins are the same, mass-produced, common, nothing special. But what if I told you that a coin minted in 2005, something as ordinary as a Roosevelt dime, could be worth thousands and thousands of dollars today? That's right, a coin you've likely passed through your hands without a second thought might just be your unexpected ticket to a fortune. And if you've got an eye for detail or a little luck on your side, you may have one of these gems sitting quietly in a jar, a drawer, or your old coin purse right now. Let's begin this journey by talking about the coin itself. The Roosevelt dime has been a staple in American pockets for decades, ever since it was introduced back in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, a man who led the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. He was also a major advocate for the March of Dimes, which aimed to fight polio, making this coin more than just money. It's a symbol of resilience, leadership, and humanitarian spirit. Over the years, the Roosevelt dime has seen subtle changes, but its essence has remained the same: a small coin with a big legacy. Now jump forward to 2005. This wasn't a year that people immediately associate with rarity in coins. In fact, most people wouldn't even think twice about a 2005 dime. Millions were produced. They were dropped into vending machines, tossed into change jars, and forgotten. But this is where the story gets interesting. Because while most of those dimes were completely ordinary, a very small number weren't. A tiny handful of 2005 Roosevelt dimes were struck with unusual characteristics, rare errors, or exceptional conditions that have since made them highly desirable among serious collectors. And it's those little differences that can turn a 10-cent piece into a jaw-dropping payday. Take a closer look at any 2005 Roosevelt dime, and one of the first things you'll notice is the mint mark, an important letter that tells us where the coin was made. You'll typically see a P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or if you're lucky, an S indicating it was minted in San Francisco. But here's the thing, some of these mint marks might appear a bit off. There are coins out there from 2005 with unusual mint mark placements, doubling effects, or even partially missing letters. And when that happens, you've got what's called a mint error coin, and error coins can command incredible prices in the numismatic world, but it's not just about mint marks. Some of these 2005 dimes have what experts call double die errors. This means the coin was struck more than once with a misaligned die, creating a doubling effect, most noticeable on the lettering or even Roosevelt's eye and mouth. It may sound like a small flaw, but for collectors, that little twist of fate adds rarity, intrigue, and yes, serious value. Then there's the matter of condition. Most coins in your pocket right now are scratched, worn down, or discolored. That's just the reality of circulation. But a few 2005 Roosevelt dimes were never used. They were preserved immediately after minting, some ending up in special mint sets, others kept by collectors or dealers. These untouched coins, known as uncirculated or mint state, can sparkle like they were struck yesterday. And when a coin combines this pristine condition with a rare error or unusual trait, it becomes extremely desirable, and extremely valuable. Now let's imagine for a moment that you're holding a flawless 2005 dime in your hand. It looks almost brand new, the edges are sharp, the luster is bright, and everything about it seems perfect. But then you look even closer. Maybe the D mint mark is unusually shaped, or the letters in Liberty show signs of doubling. That dime you nearly spent at the gas station? It might just be one of the rarest modern coins in circulation. Collectors and grading experts spend hours, days even, examining these modern dimes under magnification, searching for those telltale signs. And when they find one that ticks all the boxes, that's when auctions come alive. It's not unheard of for a simple Roosevelt dime, especially from a year as recent as 2005, to create a bidding war among collectors who recognize its rarity and know what it's truly worth. But that's what makes the world of coin collecting so fascinating. It's a hobby rooted in history, but it also requires a keen eye, a sense of curiosity, and sometimes a bit of luck. It's about recognizing that even the smallest, most ordinary-looking object can hold a story, a mistake, or a quirk that transforms it from pocket change into treasure. So now the question becomes, do you have one of these special 2005 Roosevelt dimes? Maybe it's hiding in a drawer, mixed in with nickels and pennies. Maybe you picked it up years ago and didn't think twice. Maybe it's part of an old coin roll you haven't looked through in years. Whatever the case, now is the time to look. Take out your magnifying glass, clean off your coin folders, and start the search, because one of these dimes could change your life. And finally, for those who've waited patiently until the end, here's the number you've been waiting for. A rare 2005 Roosevelt dime with the right mint mark, a striking error, and in top uncirculated condition has sold in private sales and auctions for as much as $20,000. Yes, you heard that right. $20,000 for a single Roosevelt dime minted just a few years ago. That's 200,000 times its face value. And it's out there, somewhere, waiting to be discovered. Maybe by you. Today's journey is all about something small, shiny, and shockingly valuable. It's a tiny piece of metal that you've probably held dozens of times without ever realizing its true potential. We're talking about the Roosevelt one dime, specifically from the year 1992. And if you think this is just another common coin that jingles unnoticed in your pocket or gets lost between couch cushions, think again. Because this little dime could be hiding secrets that turn it into something truly extraordinary. Stick around, because the story of the 1992 Roosevelt dime might just change the way you look at your spare change forever. Let's begin where all good stories start, with a little history. The Roosevelt dime has been part of everyday American life since 1946. It was introduced to honor the legacy of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, a man who didn't just guide the nation through the Great Depression and World War II, but also played a pivotal role in the fight against polio. The dime was chosen as a tribute because of his connection with the March of Dimes, an organization that helped change the future of American healthcare. So, every time we see Roosevelt's face on a dime, we're not just looking at a coin, we're holding a piece of American history. Now let's fast forward to 1992. It was the early 90s. A time of transformation. The Cold War had ended, the internet was still new and mysterious, and the US Mint was producing coins with updated technology, better presses, and more efficient designs. But even with advanced minting systems, errors still happened. In fact, sometimes these rare mistakes and unusual characteristics are what turn an ordinary coin into a prized collector's item worth thousands of dollars. The 1992 Roosevelt dime is one of those coins that seems ordinary at first glance. It's small, silver in color, and just 10 cents in value. But beneath that simple surface lies the potential for a once-in-a-lifetime find. The key? Mint marks, minting mistakes, and condition. These are the three powerful factors that can make this dime worth far more than what it was intended to be. So, what exactly should you be looking for? Let's start with the mint mark. This is the small letter you'll find just above the date on the obverse of the coin, typically showing a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. But not all mint marks are created equal. Some coins from 1992 have been found with unusual mint mark placements, missing mint marks, or even doubling of the mark. These aren't printing tricks or damage, they are actual mint errors that occurred during production, and they're incredibly rare. Next, we look at design anomalies. A small handful of 1992 Roosevelt dimes have been discovered with striking issues like doubled dies. This means the coin was struck twice, but not quite in the same place. You'll notice the effects on the lettering, the date, and even Roosevelt's eye or lips. Another possible error is the off-center strike, where the coin is visibly misaligned, resulting in blank areas where the design didn't fully land. And don't forget die cracks, clipped planchets, and repunched mint marks. Each one of these can dramatically affect the coin's rarity and value, but even without errors, condition plays a massive role. The majority of dimes from 1992 went into circulation. They were used in everyday transactions, handed out as change, and worn down by decades of use. Today, most of them are scratched, dirty, and far from perfect. But if you happen to find a coin that was never circulated, what we call mint state, you're already ahead of the game. These pristine coins shine with their original luster, showing no signs of wear. They often come from special collector sets, forgotten rolls, or someone's childhood collection tucked away and never touched again. And then, there are the proofs. These special dimes were struck with extra care and meant only for collectors. They have a mirror-like finish and extra sharp details. If you happen to own a 1992 Roosevelt dime in proof condition, especially one with an S mint mark from San Francisco, you may already have something special. But if it also includes a striking error or a rare variation, its value skyrockets. It's easy to assume that a coin from the 1990s can't be worth much. After all, it's not ancient. It's not silver like earlier Roosevelt dimes. And millions were made. But here's the truth, scarcity isn't always about age, it's about survival and uniqueness. Coins from the 1990s are just now reaching a point where serious collectors are starting to pay attention. And that attention is revealing some incredible hidden gems. Imagine this. Someone finds a 1992 dime in a forgotten coin roll, sealed in brilliant uncirculated condition. Upon closer inspection, the mint mark appears doubled. The lettering shows signs of a double die, and the fields are flawless, without a single scratch or blemish. What looks like just another 10-cent piece suddenly transforms into a collector's dream. The best part: you don't need to be a professional collector to find one. You don't need expensive tools or years of experience. All it takes is curiosity, a careful eye, and the willingness to search. Go through your coin jars, your old piggy banks, your childhood keepsakes. You never know when or where one of these rare coins might turn up. The Roosevelt dime from 1992 may be small, but its potential is anything but. So, what's the value of such a coin? How much can a tiny dime from 1992 be worth if it has the right combination of rarity, condition, and error? Well, that brings us to the grand reveal. A rare 1992 Roosevelt dime with the right mint mark, preserved in mint state, and featuring an extraordinary striking error or double die. Such a coin has been valued by experts and sold to serious collectors for as much as $34,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $34,000 for a single dime. 10 cents turned into a massive payday, all because of a tiny flaw and a lot of preserved perfection. So, next time you're holding a handful of change, don't rush to spend it. Look closely. Inspect every coin. Because hidden in that ordinary pile could be something extraordinary. And who knows? You just might be holding a Roosevelt dime from 1992 worth $34,000. Today, people pass it by without a second thought. 10 cents, after all, doesn't seem like much. But what if I told you that a particular dime, the 2016 Roosevelt 1 dime with a specific mint mark, could turn out to be a life-changing discovery? What if that tiny coin in your change jar had the power to unlock a hidden fortune? Let's rewind and explore the fascinating history and remarkable details of the Roosevelt dime. First issued in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had passed away just a year earlier, the dime quickly became one of the most recognizable and enduring coins in American coinage. But beyond the basic appearance of Roosevelt's left-facing portrait, there's an entire universe of tiny differences, errors, and mint marks that make certain dimes far more valuable than their face value. These little clues can be easy to miss, but incredibly rewarding if you know what to look for. Now, the 2016 Roosevelt dime might not seem particularly special at first glance. Millions were struck that year by the U.S. Mint, with coins produced at the Philadelphia, P., Denver, D., and San Francisco, S. facilities. But among the countless ordinary dimes, a few rare and remarkable varieties emerged, ones that collectors today are eager to get their hands on. These rare examples often contain unusual characteristics: double dies, off-center strikes, missing clad layers, misaligned dies, or even wrong planchet errors. And it's these mistakes, made unintentionally during the minting process, that make the coins incredibly rare and extremely valuable. So why 2016? Why is this year catching the eye of expert collectors and coin hunters alike? Well, it turns out that several unique 2016 Roosevelt dimes with mint marks have surfaced in coin collecting circles that defy expectations. One of the most desirable types is the Roosevelt dime that was struck on a copper planchet, meaning it lacks the normal outer layer of nickel. This error causes the dime to appear a deep coppery tone, making it visually distinct from regular dimes. Others have reported double die obverse errors, where Roosevelt's profile, the motto, "In God We Trust," or the word "Liberty," appears slightly duplicated due to a misalignment during the die creation process. Collectors go crazy for these kinds of errors. Why? Because they're rare. In the world of numismatics, rarity translates directly to value. A coin might be small in size, but if it exists in very limited numbers and carries unique features, it becomes a highly prized collectible, often selling for huge amounts at coin auctions. Imagine this: you're sorting through your spare change, maybe rolling coins for deposit, and suddenly, one 2016 dime catches your attention. It looks different, maybe the coloring is off, or the text seems just slightly doubled. You pull out your magnifying glass and inspect it closely. Could it be one of the rare 2016 Roosevelt dimes with a mint error? Could it be the key to an unexpected fortune? If your coin carries one of these rare mint errors, especially with a clean strike in excellent preservation, graded as mint state or proof by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, it could be worth far more than 10 cents. You see, condition plays a major role. A coin in pristine condition with a rare mint error can go from pocket change to auction star almost overnight. And as more collectors turn their attention toward modern era coins, the demand continues to climb. So what should you look for? Always check the mint mark first. A D for Denver, a P for Philadelphia, or an S for San Francisco can each have their own varieties and rare strikes. Next, look for irregularities, misalignments, doubling, or surface flaws that don't match normal wear and tear. Also, feel the texture and weight. If something seems off, it just might be worth a second look. Many people assume valuable coins are always old, dusty relics from the 1800s, but modern dimes like the 2016 Roosevelt prove that even coins from the 21st century can be worth thousands. You never know what might be hiding in your coin jar, your tip change, or even the vending machine return slot. So next time you're about to toss that dime into a fountain for a wish, stop and really look at it first. Because one rare 2016 Roosevelt 1 dime with the right mint mark and error recently shocked the collecting world when it sold for a jaw-dropping $31,000. Yes, you heard that right. $31,000 for just one dime. Keep your eyes open, check your change, and never underestimate the value of the coins in your pocket. The next hidden treasure could be resting right in the palm of your hand.